Can I have your attention, please? The Portland International Auto Show is now open.
Alright, thanks, man.
Have a good one.
Thank you. So from way back here, it's like, yes, that's a Harley stereo. That's great. Oh, it fills the whole hall.
Dude, that's just my wheelchair did that.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that is loud.
I think it's all the stripes on the ground and the color changes. And
I think it's another day. According to this, it's Wednesday, February 8th. So, once again, where have you been for the last week? Well, that's easy. I was down at the convention center at the auto show. Every year, hang on, my shirt, coffee. So pretty much every year, the Portland International Auto Show happens, and there's a wheelchair van company here in town that allows us to bogard part of their booth that we can use for power soccer. This year we were working on doing some fundraising, trying to get volunteers, as well as spreading the idea that power soccer is a thing that does exist. We're working on fundraising to get enough money for travel and all that stuff, so having thousands, I don't even know what the attendance of the auto show normally is, but we'll just say thousands of people wandering by, looking at stuff and saying, oh, that's a cool little chair and whatnot. Where was I? I always start sentences and don't know where I'm going with them. Anyways, this year we had a TV set up, a little kiosk, put together like maybe 19, 20 clips, little short things of games being played and whatnot, and people could walk by, and we had a soccer chair sitting there. Oddly enough, the thing that got the most attention was the giant soccer ball. I don't have one here with me at the moment, but they're like a regular soccer ball, but large. Well, not this large. Probably ice machine. Anyways, that ended on Sunday. It is now Wednesday, and still recovering from that. Short version is, I just worked 48 hours in 4 days. It's a lot of fun. We made a lot of really good contacts for power soccer with volunteers and maybe new players and some sponsors and fundraising and all that. And yeah, totally worth it. Anyhow, I finally ran the Super Jank 5000 Permobil Volt Pro charging monitor last night. Actually, hang on a second. You may remember this from such videos as, I can't remember the title, but this is a little current monitoring thing that I built. Got a little display on there. We have a Hall effect current sensor, a input for XLR, output for XLR. And last night, all I did was I've got this Wyze V1 or original pan cam, and I just set it here so it could see that screen. And plugged in the Volt Pro charger to see what's going on. So I'm going to pull the SD card out of this thing. I'm going to plug this into the computer and look at the data. The idea is to figure out, by the way, this video is all over the place. We're going to head out to the warehouse and screw some things there, look at the soccer chair, look at some programming on other stuff. It's basically just a day in the life when my brain's actually functioning, which mostly was yesterday, and see what I get up to normally when I'm working on stuff. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to pull the data off of this thing real quick and see if I can come up with a basic chart of the amperages and voltages and things like that. I do need to... more coffee needs to be consumed. I got some stuff delivered yesterday, and I think I will play that footage now. It's things from the gift list. The audio on that camera is a little bit different. Hang on here. Yesterday I filmed unboxing some stuff and other things with this little camera here. It's a $13 Sony camcorder that I got from Goodwill. And, well, it does work pretty well. Yesterday the pellet stove was on, and the microphones on this thing do not do well with background noise. So, oh man, it's always with the rambling. Anyways, I'll be back in a minute. Anyways, all that being said, got some stuff delivered from the Amazon wish list and a few of the things I ordered. So I think we're gonna open that up right now. And then it is a disaster area in here right now. There's like piles of stuff on the floor. And by the way, the Pampers cardboard box, I use that to carry around the Blu-ray player and some of the portable drives and stuff I was using for the kiosk TV. And nothing screams "don't steal me" more than a box of diapers. We're gonna start off with something that I actually ordered from DigiKey. If I remember correctly, this is part of something that in theory should be available on the website for sale soon. You know they have those little buttons that you can plug into your joystick? On the bottom here there's some little ports that you can control the power of your chair and the mode and profile and some other buttons like that. Well, I got to looking. The super cheap versions of those are like $90, like discounted on Amazon. My thought was, I can build some of those significantly cheaper and probably better quality. So with the help of White Raven, he's a master with trying to find parts on DigiKey and other sites like that. We sourced some really good mono jack cables that are actually shielded. I ordered some little switches, but then they didn't get delivered. I don't know what happened, I'll have to get some more. But basically this plugs into the bottom of your joystick and then you have a little button that you can push on this end. Oop, everything's falling. So this is kind of the intended testing purpose. I've got it plugged into the power port, and now when I short these wires, the chair turns off. And then you short them again, and it turns back on. So one of my friends, for example, has a really hard time with his hand and arm function being able to get up here and reach this power button. So if we can make a remote switch that simply plugs in and works, well, that's kind of the idea. And Ice Maker's over there doing its thing. But the thought is, this stuff doesn't need to be insanely expensive. I think these little pigtails cost me maybe $4 or $5 each, something like that. And I'm trying to source some switches that are equally as inexpensive, but decent quality. And the idea is you can put that button somewhere here in your chair, or on your armrest, or somewhere else. So, anyways. Oh man, dysreflexia is real today. Things keep sliding off my lap. Anyways, so I ordered a few of these to test that out. So next up, we have something from the gift list. Ooh, switches. I think this is robots, but I need to answer it. Most pianos. It's my healthcare network calling to schedule stuff. Anyways, we've got some little garter bender buttons here. These are on the gift list for some things here in the bus. I needed some little push button switches. Apparently Amazon forgot the gift note. So let's open the next one, which apparently is already open for our convenience. Oh, more switches. So we've got another assortment here of the garter bender switches. These are toggles. And when I'm working on projects and stuff, I found these little pre-wired switches are awesome. They're great for surface mounting. You don't have to worry about, hooking up the wiring and all that. So, yes, thank you to the person that sent those. I believe we've been conversing on Twitter. This one has a note. Amazon doesn't always remember to include these. Fix something from Sebastian K. Well, thank you, Sebastian. So these right here have been very instrumental in building almost everything electrical related in this bus. I've been using these things by the boatload, and I just recently ran out of them. So, good to have another set. This is an 80-piece kit of insulated, what would you call these? Insulated wiring D-ring holders. But they're these little things here that have screw holes in them, so you can mount wiring and stuff to various surfaces. and they come in a whole bunch of different sizes. So thank you very much for getting that. And then I think that might be everything. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna clean up this mess I just generated, and then see where we go from here. I have no idea what's going on today. So, stay tuned. Okay, we have preliminary data for the Permobil Volt Pro charging cycle, as it were, and it is really strange. So what I'm going to do, I've got 8 hours of footage from that chair charging last night, and I traveled maybe 3 miles, something like that, yesterday in my chair. So just for reference, the batteries were not totally dead. I plugged the thing in, set it up. We started charging at 1 a.m. and it piped 10 amps into the batteries until it hit 30.1 volts. That took about a half hour. Then from there, it dropped to 8.1 amps and charged the batteries all the way back up to 30.8 volts. Once it hit that was about another 30 minutes, 2 or 3 a.m. It dropped to 3.6 amps and then brought the batteries up to 30.35. Once it hit that, it stays at 3.1 amps. And then about 2 hours later, at 4 a.m., the charger completely turned off and the green light came on. It turned completely off for about 2 minutes. Then it came back on, and it started putting in 0.8 amps until it got up to 27.93. And it stayed there until 8 a.m., at which point it completely turned off for 2 minutes again, and then it alternated between 0 amps and 0.6 amps. Did that for a couple of minutes. 8:03 a.m., it turned completely off and stopped charging altogether. I woke up at about 9:20 a.m., hit the button on the battery monitor, because when there's no current going in at all, that thing shuts off. It's got a resolution of, I think, 10 milliamps or 1 milliamp or something like that. But when I turned it back on at 9:20 a.m., the batteries were sitting there at 26.64 volts. So what I'm doing, I've got that video, 8 hours of footage, it's rendering on this laptop over here. I've compressed it into about an hour-long video, and I'm going to post a link to that down below. So any of you engineering or battery nerds out there that want to go over the footage, because there are timestamps on it, it's a little bit blurry, but you can see what's going on. Basically, the voltage and the amperage are what we're looking at. The total amount of energy, like watt hours, amp hours, whatever, put into the batteries wasn't readable, but that doesn't really matter. So I'm going to post a link to that video down below if you want to review that and come to your own conclusions. But that is one of the strangest battery charging profiles I've ever encountered. So anyways, there you go. And by the way, I'm going to do some more testing and use a different camera that can actually read the display better. I just threw this together last night before I went to bed because I thought it would be interesting. But I'm going to do this a number of different times with the chair, starting at different states of charge when I've gone a lot more miles and whatnot, just to see, because I'm sure these values will change a little bit, but it's really weird. 30 volts, 30.8, 30.35, it's like really hammering those batteries. So anyhow, I think at this point, we're going to head back to yesterday and go out to the warehouse and do some random stuff. Alright, we've arrived at the warehouse, and I'm actually feeling a lot better. It's weird how that happens when you're awake for a few hours and whatnot. I think what we're going to do right now, though, while I'm here, or at least what I'm going to film, is having to do with the soccer chair. It's kind of buried over there in the corner. So last video, we were testing out that optocoupler to see if we could use it as a brake circuit triggering method to control other things, like the cooling fans. What I discovered as we were filming that was when the brakes are in the off position, which they are on soccer chairs when you're playing, the circuit is complete and you always get 24 volts. So I think what I'm going to do instead of using an optocoupler and a bunch of other stuff, well, I might still use the optocoupler, but we're going to pull this thing apart and check to see what voltage the fans are actually running on. And I think we're going to go really low tech with this and just hook up a relay to that circuit that will activate the fans when they are kicked off or when the chair is moving. Ideally, it would be nice to have a timer delay or a delay timer built in so that the fans would continue to run for about 30 minutes but it's not 100% necessary. As long as the fans are on when you're running your chair, you should be good. Now, the other thought with that is if you are at a competition and you're playing several games and you're waiting for your chair to charge and all that stuff, it'd probably be good to have the fans running during that time. So what I plan to do is leave the switch hooked up, and or potentially maybe that timer would be good. Anyways, I'm gonna extract that thing from the corner over there, and we're gonna check with the voltmeter, verify a few things, and I'm not gonna be completing it today, but I'm just kind of testing a few things and looking at some stuff. Also, a few other projects I have been thinking of in the background. I know in the past I've spoken about a lot of things like the light kits and a bunch of other stuff. Oh, and the ICS light shades, for example. I finally figured out what I'm gonna do with that, and we're gonna talk about a few other things that I'm working on, but I'm finally in a position now to where I kind of need to get moving on some of these projects, and I'm tired of talking about stuff and not doing it. So, while we're here, it's going to be some updates on a few of those things, stuff that's rattling around in my head. On the way here, I used Siri on my phone to create 4 or 5 notes of different things. So right now my brain is functioning, and we're going to take advantage of that. I'm also kind of waiting for some data transfer stuff to happen. So I've got the 2012 Mac Mini that I use for editing. Oh, I forgot to bring the laptop. Oh well. I normally edit most of the videos on that thing, and it's only got so much storage. So once all that footage is done, I archive it on a portable drive and then stick it on a machine here that has various redundant and or offsite backups. I was gonna try and edit this video with a laptop while I'm here. Oh well, whatever. So anyways, I'm gonna let some of this stuff get going here. I'm gonna eat some food real quick, then we're gonna extract that chair and all the stuff I just said. So I'll be right back.
I'm not interested in this.
Okay, pardon the Louis Rossman there in the background, but I got distracted by copying, ooh, bags of trash. I got distracted by copying my drive settings from my F3 over to the M3 here. I decided for whatever reason to just do it via the joystick. I don't know how well that's gonna work, but I wanna hop in this thing and run around a little bit. The batteries really need to be cycled. And the tune that it has on it currently is not really usable, so I'm going to attempt to cross everything over with the same settings. However, this F3 has a gyroscope and the M3 does not. So I think that may affect things. I know I've said a few times in the past that when you're trying to copy settings from one chair to another, even if they're identical, things may be different. In this case, I think that's, well, one of 2 reasons. One, we've got the gyro, and 2, this one has the newer motors that have about 20 to 30% more torque. So anyways, I'm gonna copy this over straight across for no reason. Then I'll let you know my results. And then we will get to the soccer chair, I promise. Okay, I'm very quickly realizing that, well, actually, number 1, this thing has air-filled tires and they're flat. I forgot those were on here. I cannot for the life of me find an air pump anywhere in here. I've got the giant compressor right back there, but I don't have an air chuck for it. Well, here anyways. And number 2, crossing over settings on this chair from the F3, they're so completely different that it's not even usable. So we might put this project back on the back burner. It was just something I saw and figured I'd try, but what I need to do is pull a profile for a 2017-2018 era M3 and load it onto this chair, like a stock one, and start from there. Anyone's chair that I've ever programmed, I usually save the profiles along with the year and model for this exact reason. So anyways, let's grab the multimeter and start screwing around with the soccer chair. Okay, here we have the soccer chair, and oops, things are falling. What I'm gonna do is pull these front bolts and flip the seat backwards. Unfortunately, I just added these high amperage charging connectors, so these have to come loose because they are tied to the batteries and they're gonna interfere with the chair flipping back. So I'm just gonna pull the bolts off of these, leave them connected to the batteries, and just let them dangle. And I think that should accomplish what we need to do here. I forgot these bolts are 100 miles long. Holy cow. Why does it need that? All right, we've got these things loose now. So we should be able to just pop these loose and pull them out. Don't have my T-handle Allen wrenches out here with me. So you probably take note, okay, we're 1.5 holes. I don't know why these bags of trash keep feeling the need to get in frame on every shot. Okay, I've checked the wiring in the back. We should be able to just rotate this back some amount. Yeah, there we go. Kind of stays put. That gives us access to our batteries and our fan wiring over here. So they've got a little switch right here that turns the fans on and off. Might be able to hear them. They make a little bit of noise. Actually, one of them sounds like the bearings are already going bad. Stick my finger in here. We've got one going to the ground here and another one going here. Our crossover is there. So actually I don't even need the meter. These are running on 24 volts. All right, cool. That makes things easy. I just wanted to make sure they weren't like pulling the fans like they were 12 volt fans and they're just pulling off of one of the batteries. So I guess we don't need this. Okay, I'm gonna swivel this around. Whoop, careful. Swivel this around a little bit and see if we can. Oh, there's our motor wiring right there. Oh, interesting. Can you see this? So what they've done, my arm's blocking the light. Why is it always so hard to film anything? Okay, we can see here that there are 6 wires coming out of this. What they've done is just doubled up 2 smaller gauge wires. There you can see there's 2 smaller gauge wires and those go directly into the motors. You can see right there they've got a whole pile of wires going through that weather sealing gland into the motors. I'm not quite sure what the purpose of using 2 wires instead of one larger gauge one would be, but apparently the manufacturer of this chair decided that was what they wanted to do. Now, many of you know exactly what brand of chair this is. I try to avoid saying it as much as possible because I am not sure how litigious they are, and based on mine and other people's experiences, I would rather not show or talk about their particular brand if I'm modifying anything, because reasons. It appears we have 2 fans. There's one right here and one right here. I don't feel another one there in the middle. There's not too much of a gap there, but I think they're just trying to get airflow around this controller and also kind of blowing down over the motors, right where the brush housing connects to where the windings are in the motor. Most of the heat's going to be generated in the windings, but it's good to have airflow over all of that. Wait a minute. Is there seriously no fuse protection anywhere on this chair? So we've got a crossover wire here. This goes down to the motor input. This one goes up there somewhere. Oh, okay, there is. There's a circuit breaker right there. I was wondering there for a minute. I'm like, how on earth? Can't quite see the rating on it. It's usually embossed on the plastic, but I don't have a light down here. However, the fan circuitry has no fusing at all, which is interesting. Unless there's another hidden fuse over here. Yeah, well, I'm not going to say that. There might be a fuse hiding somewhere. Let's plug this back in. Okay, that's reconnected. All right, cool. Research complete. They're 24 volt fans. I guess that's all I needed to figure out. Oh, brake wiring. It's part of that bundle of wires. So now I think at this point, all I need to do is buy some 24 volt relays and or maybe a cheap timer relay, tap that into the brake circuitry and connect it to the fans. I think that's as simple as it needs to be. We can just run, so this is a switched wire here. These are the 2 wires that come over and up to the switch. And it appears as though, let's see, how are we doing this? Oh, we've got something. Yeah, so they're switching the positive side here. So basically all we need to do is get a relay, run it up here, add another, basically parallel it in here where all this stuff is, So this switch will still work, and then our timer relay will work. You can't see them, but you can hear them. Brakes. That'll turn on our fans. All right, like I said earlier, this is just a bunch of rambling and looking at stuff. So I'm gonna put the bolts back in this. I'm just gonna set the bolts back in. I'm not gonna tighten everything down. Actually, I'm trying to think. I don't know if I'll have the parts by the time we play soccer on Saturday or not. Well, anyways, I'm gonna put some bolts back in and then, yeah, stuff. Seeing as how that thing was really easy to figure out what was going on, we're gonna shift our efforts back to the orange M3 and see if we can load some software onto it. Hence the dongle. And I was just reminded that this particular chair has the RNet connection inside the armrest here. And since it's a newer chair, there's no connection point down here either. So I think we're just gonna pop the front cover here because that doesn't require any tools. And we'll plug the programmer. Oh, there's also a bolt missing. Excellent. And we'll just plug the programmer directly into an open port on the ICS module. So let's pull that over here. Just have to get it within USB cable length of the computer. There we go. So we'll turn that off. And here's a dongle which I prepared earlier. We'll just plug that in right here to one of the unused ports on the ICS and power up the chair. And now we wait for Windows 10 to boot up on a Mac. I wonder how long this will take. It's running on an external USB drive through, I don't know if this has USB 3, whatever. And I don't have my library of RNet files on here. They're back at the bus. I did leave the computer powered on though. I don't think I have my remote access software turned on though. It's always something. All right, we're gonna make an OEM backup file of what's currently sitting on that chair. I did find this random one called Blue M3. I don't know whose that is, but we're just gonna load it onto the chair and see what happens. All right, now at the risk of breaking this chair, Blue M3, I have no idea what this is. We'll just drag this in here and program. I did just realize though I have the seat elevator raised. I do occasionally run into glitches on some of these older chairs when you're flashing things and the seat elevator is not down all the way. Hopefully that doesn't become an issue. Hey, it completed. Let's reboot this thing and see if we still have a chair. Appears as though we do. We have normal. Okay, 2 profiles. Oh, no, don't go into programming mode. Off. You don't want to go into onboard programming when you're connected to the computer. It's going to do it anyways. Hopefully we can back out of it. Worst case scenario, we just have to unhook the dongle. Okay, there we go. Let's see if it moves. Seems to do stuff. All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna unhook it and see what happens. All right, I'm sitting in this thing now. Let's see what happens. Well, who just ran over the cover with my feet. Seems pretty decent. Now remember, we do still have flat tires on this thing. How's our turning speed? Not bad. Okay, how about reverse? Oh yeah. Okay, so whatever this program is or wherever it came from is clearly something I set up. Sweet. Once again, there was basically no reason for me to do this. I just wanted to make it a profile that's usable. So I'm probably just gonna stick this thing back in the corner here. There is a portable air compressor here somewhere. I've seen it, I've used it here, but I can't find it at the moment. If I did have that, I might run around outside a bit, but anyways. I'm gonna clean up some of the tools I've gotten out already and then figure out if there's anything else we need to work on while we're here. Day of random at the warehouse. By the way, in case you're wondering, I feel compelled for some reason to mention it. All of this computer equipment you see here behind me, and that old Mac Pro and the iMacs and all the monitors and everything, I've collected all that stuff over the last 6 years. all of it, totaled together, is less than about 900 bucks. So it doesn't really cost a whole lot necessarily, and again, that's over time. This one's data management. That was my original OG video editing machine. I think I bought that in my third vlog ever. And then this one here, I think I bought that when I was moving out of one of the apartments for some reason. That was kind of an impulse buy. I think that thing was maybe 90 bucks. And then the monitors were maybe $15 each or something. But anyways, I say a lot to say, you can in fact edit video and manage data and work on a whole bunch of other projects. This big machine here ran a bunch of my printing equipment for a while. But yeah, you can do all that for not a whole lot of money. Again, like 900 bucks sounds like a lot, but over time, Goodwill, other places, Craigslist, electronics recyclers and all that, you can find stuff for pretty inexpensive. Like, where is it? This little 2014 MacBook Air here, this is the one I carry in my backpack. This thing was 125 bucks on eBay. Works fine. I can actually edit video on this, but the screen's a little small. However, even with a case on it, fits in a backpack very well. Again, not sure why I felt compelled to mention that, but I don't know. I think sometimes when people see all of this gear, they're like, oh my gosh. Anyways, I think we might be about done in here for today. I'm just doing some organization stuff, trying to find some of my tools and other stuff that have been scattered around the place with doing all the projects and things, but yeah, I'm gonna keep doing some cleaning. It's only 5 o'clock right now, so we'll see what happens. There might be more awesomeness. Okay, it is now 8:30 at night and I'm still here. I wound up digging through the stack of stuff back there by the door. I'm really trying to find some specific things, but not having any luck. But I did find my old Sony DSLR camera from back in the day. This is, what is this, an Alpha 200? It doesn't even take video, and it is a true DSLR. Has a mirror in it and everything. But yeah, it uses compact flash cards. It's kind of interesting looking through the photos on that. The last ones I took on that were in like 2008, back before I was in a chair. So I'm not finding anything else to do here right now. Still working on data management and backup stuff, but I don't even know if I'm gonna get this video out tonight at this point. Well, anyways, I'll have to look through the footage and see what's going on. Maybe film some more stuff tomorrow, I don't know. But wanted to come out here and at least feel like I'm being productive or something. Got a lot of stuff organized, still a lot more to go. There's something else I wanted to do, but I can't remember what it was. Anyways, whatever. I'll pick up the camera later, I guess. All right, it's the next day yet again. So, future note, if I do ever happen to use this camera again, I'm not gonna use the onboard microphones. Because as you can tell right now, the audio is actually good. It's because I'm using the wireless mic. That's the main difference between consumer camcorders and prosumer or better level stuff. At least this has a mic input. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed. It's been an interesting weekend, however long it's been. And yeah, like I said, I've got the video of the Volt Pro battery charger overnight charging. If you want to take a look at that and nerd out on the data and come up with your own charts and graphs, cool. I will be doing some more tests with this thing and getting some more data and whatnot, because it'd be interesting too to see how much amperage is actually going in there and whatnot. So anyways, I will catch you guys on the live stream tomorrow. And until then, see ya.